shout out TomsyTube for sending that one in.
Well, that was a bit intense.
Oh, yes!
Welcome all. Welcome back to another video on the TomsyTube channel. I said I was never going to call it that, and now I have. And today we're going to be looking at some cheap cards for your starter teams. I say cheap, I more mean value for money. We're going to have some 82 rated cards in here. Some of them are going to be Premier League players, but I think these are cards that will give you a great bang for your buck, especially early on. I can see these cards rising in price as their demand goes up towards like the first weekend league. I can see a lot of people seeing these cards being something they're going to add into their team. So let's start off with them with the first player. Vlakic, I think you say it, Vlakic. He's an 82 rated goalkeeper from Czech Republic, plays for Sevilla. Now, the reason why I'm including him in this team mainly is for the links that he gets. He gets great links to Diego Carlos, and he gets great links to another centre-back that I'll be covering later down the line as well. As an 82 rated card in the La Liga, I can see him being quite cheap. There's a lot of good options in the Liga. I can imagine him being one of the more cheaper options for an 82 rated. Plus, his stats are good in the areas where it matters most, so your diving, reflexes and positioning, all over 80. So I can see him being a quite useful goalkeeper early on. So the next card we've got is Klostermann. So Klostermann had an informed card last season. Initially, I think he was a left back, and then he transitioned to a centre back with an inform that had 88 pace, and it was an absolutely monstrous inform. I don't think the rating was that high, maybe it was like 84, but this card from the start, an 80 rated centre back with 84 pace and 82 defending, decent dribbling and decent physical as well. That's an amazing centre back for the start of FIFA. And if you scroll down as well, he's 6'2". So it's not like he's like a 5'9" centre back that's rapid. He is still going to be able to do the work in the box as well and head some balls away. His defending stats are actually really solid. It's not like he's been maxed out on heading and then the rest of his stats have suffered, like defensive awareness. He's actually got 80 rated plus in all of those defensive categories with some good acceleration and sprint speed, particularly for a centre back. That's insane. So definitely another one I'd suggest picking up. You'll see Leipzig being talked about a lot by the FIFA community as an overpowered team this season. I have to agree. They've got some really great options in defence and midfield. I believe they've also got Golaski still in goal as well. So they're going to be a really good team to link your players with early on in FIFA, that's for sure. The next player we have is Kundo. Kundo is someone that's been rumoured to be transferred to be going to Manchester City. Potentially he'll have a Premier League card next season, or at least at the start of the season, and a one to watch card would definitely be one to look out for. I included Kundo in some of my teams in the video on starter squad, so if you want to check that out, the link will be there at the end of the video. Kundo looks like a card with some really solid starter stats. You've got 77 pace, 81 defending, 70 dribbling. Doesn't look quite as overpowered as Klostermann does, but you could argue that Kundo being French and in the Liga, he's going to have some really solid links to, including that goalkeeper we mentioned earlier, and to Diego Carlos. So that triangle looks like a really strong triangle this season. Not the tallest, 5'11", still does you a job, and his defensive stats, they need a little bit of work. Physical, yeah, he's got decent jumping, which makes up for that slightly lower height. But you've got good agility, good balance, good reactions. You've got what I would say is a great companion to a more of a bruiser centre back type. So your Hummels, your Soules, those kind of centre backs. You've got a great partner in Kundo to some of those. Next, we've got Yusuf Atal. Atal is someone that everyone in the FIFA community knows from last FIFA. Obviously he started off as a right back card, then went to, I think it was left wing, and then had that ridiculous striker card from the Shapeshifters event, and obviously had that right winger card from the Team of the Season event. So everyone knows who Atal is. He's not really, I'd say, a hidden gem, but I think as a right back, as a starting right back, he might get overlooked by some people. With the pace he's got and with the all-round everything over 70 plus the 5-star weak foot, he is someone that is definitely a good option. He can actually play in midfield if you would rather sort of switch him around, play like a 5 at the back and then move him into midfield. That's definitely something that can be done with Yusuf Atal. He's just got good all-round stats, to be honest. You're going to want something that's going to buff his defensive stats, particularly when his defensive awareness is so low. You're going to need someone that's going to be able to track runs properly, and then you can switch them being, given this game is moving more of a manual defending method, you're going to need someone that's going to be in those positions to actually switch to, rather than having to switch to him and then sprint back. So yeah, you're going to want to buff those defensive stats for sure. So next up we have Casco. Now for some reason Casco, his badge doesn't show up on Footbin. This is someone that I sent to Zweback, if you know Zweback, the YouTuber. Yeah, this is a guy who I think looks like probably one of the most cracked left backs that you can get at the start of FIFA, just purely from I mean, his stats are insane. 88 pace, 81 dribbling, 81 physical, 71 defending, sure, but if you buff that, defensive abilities are one of the easiest things to buff in this FIFA, I swear, because it's things like Shadow, which obviously gives the best pace boost you could possibly get. He doesn't need it. That's one of the easiest things to buff. So this card looks like a sanely good left back for the start of FIFA. This is one that I definitely recommend if you're going for like an Argentinian team or anything that can get that possibly an Argentinian link. I definitely recommend trying to put him in. Plus, I mean, if this is accurate, which I mean, I know that a lot of these aren't accurate, but if this is accurate and he actually has 5-star weak foot and 4-star skills, that's insane. Like, this card is absolutely monstrous. 91 stamina, 87 aggression, dribbling is mad as well. 89 agility, 85 balance. Then you've got decent reactions, decent ball control. You might want to maybe buff your dribbling and defense stats together. You maybe want to do defense and physical together. I don't really know, but yeah, I mean, this card just looks ridiculous. So moving on to the midfield, now we have Lima. So Lima is someone who had a shapeshifter card last FIFA. He was the troll board of the shapeshifters event where he had that cam card. Obviously you'd go nuts if you saw the shapeshifters, the lights come up, but it was normally Lima, the only 85 rated shapeshifter, or at least the only one that was classed as a board and not a walkout for some strange reason. This FIFA though, he's got an insanely good looking card. He's got 85 pace, which for a CDM is, that we're looking at like Ramirez from, what is it, FIFA 12 or FIFA 11 sort of level of really good defensive card. Combine that with the dribbling, with the passing, with the 80 defending and 77 physical, you've got an insanely good all-round starter card, and he's also got medium high as well, so he's going to be in the right positions for you to defend. Not that it really matters because he's got the pace to catch up to Jadon Sancho. And then you look at his defensive stats, and he's actually got the two stats you really want a defensive midfielder to have: interceptions and defensive awareness. That's his main two stats in that category. He is going to do a proper job for you. Look at dribbling, pretty much high 70s all across the board actually. Physical, fine, like low strength, that's not really a problem. We've seen from Kante that doesn't really matter when you've got someone that's kind of like a nippy CDM. Passing, 84 short passing. I don't know what more you can want from this guy. I think he'll get overlooked by a lot of people because of how good Sakaria's card looks. But another one from Leipzig that looks just absolutely mad.
Nice.
Next up is Talisca. Talisca's someone that last FIFA got overlooked a lot. He didn't really get that many special cards either, but the season before, FIFA 19, he had some insanely good cards. He had that Carnival card, and that that played like the Socrates icon card. That's a mad card. He's got, in this FIFA, he looks like a really good starter card as well. So he's got 80 pace, 82 shooting, 81 passing, 82 dribbling. He's nearly Hullet Club for what matters, That's an insanely good looking set of stats for a cam. And then you scroll down. Now, this would suggest that he's a short player, right? Like the high acceleration, low sprint speed. The man's 6'3". So not only has he got the acceleration of someone that's really nippy and can get between the lines a lot easier, the guy's freaking huge. So he's going to be able to do both. He's also got 87 agility, so he's going to play like that agile, nimble midfielder, when in reality he's 6'3" and he can head the ball. He's going to be almost like a freak of nature on this game. That's a kind of card that we don't often see. That's the kind of Ibrahimovic level from like FIFA 11, FIFA 12. This kind of card is one that I can imagine being absolutely broken. Plus he's got some great links being Brazilian, and actually the Chinese league this season looks like quite an underrated league in terms of links. You've even got, I believe, Alessandrini's moved to the Chinese league as well, so you've got a French link in there too. You're going to start to see some really interesting squads going to be stemmed off of the back of some Chinese league players. Also, he has a strong link to Paulinho and some other cards, which I'll show you soon. So Lucas Os Campos. Now, on the face of it, his card looks insane, and I do think he is one of those cheap sort of hidden gems. 82 rated. I think he's going to get overlooked a lot. Obviously an Argentinian right winger. Some people might actually put him in as like a replacement for Messi to start off with and work their way up to getting Messi, but I think he gives a different kind of attacking threat on this game. As you can see here, his face card stats look really good, so he's got 80s pretty much across the board for everything that matters for a right winger, apart from passing, but you'll see down here that's actually not a huge deal because a lot of that is weighted into free kick accuracy. Pace, fine. Shooting, good shooting, 85 finishing, 84 shot power. So in the box, he's going to be pretty good to use. You scroll down a little bit further, you can see he's 6'2" as well. So these physical stats really come into play. This is what I mean by saying he's a different kind of threat from the wing as to what you'd normally expect. He reminds me a little bit of like a Hulk type figure. Someone with slightly better agility than Hulk, not the insane shot power and long shots. Reminds me of that sort of like physical winger, but for cheap. Yeah, maybe you want to like buff his dribbling a little bit because his agility is quite low, or you could play him centrally and buff his shooting. It's up to you. Right, so sticking with the South American theme, I suppose, because it seems to me like Brazil are going to be a really strong nation for start squads this FIFA. You've got this guy, Jonathan. Now, he had a Team of the Season card last FIFA. 5-star weak foot. Pretty sure he still has it. Yeah, 2-star skills. Fine. I'm not going to read too much into that, even if that is true. I'm not going to read too much into that. If you like using skill moves, then sure. I do like using skill moves, but for that 5-star weak foot, I'd be willing to sacrifice a little bit. But he was a really cracked FIFA card, so definitely want to take a look at, especially if you're looking for a really budget team and you are building around a Brazilian team. He could definitely be one that you look at for a bit of like a substitution early on for someone that you're building towards. As you can see, he would need a shooting buff, but I do think that 5-star weak foot and then the Brazilian links that he's going to get, plus the physical stats that he's got, I do think he's going to be quite a good starter card to use. 5-star weak foot for strikers is fairly rare. To have a cheap option which has that, it's going to be something that's going to really play into your teams, I think. So yeah, give him a try. If you are building a Brazilian team or a team from the Chinese Super League, I'm not here to judge, give him a go, why not? And then last up, I don't know how cheap he's going to be, but Richarlison's card this FIFA, for the same reason as Jonathan does, with the 5-star weak foot and 4-star skill moves, I can just see him being a really, really good card to use, especially with that change to striker and the upgrade to 81. I can see him being fairly expensive. Maybe very early on, like the first couple of days of FIFA, you might be able to pick him up for quite cheap. Richarlison, I can imagine being quite expensive, given the links that he now has, the perfect link to Allen. I can see a lot of people trying to use. But I mean, his face stats look really good for someone that's an 81 rated. He's got good pace, good physical, good shooting stats. I mean, yeah, okay, 68 long shots. How many long shots are you going to be taking in the first weekend of Foot Champs? Probably not that many. So I don't think he's one to pass up on. I don't know how expensive it's going to be. I'd predict probably just over 10k. But I mean, the market early on is going to be so wild. Maybe he'll stretch up to 30. I can't see him being much more than that. The dribbling stats are, for someone that's an 81 rated striker, really strong. 5-star weak foot. If you buff his dribbling and if you buff his shooting stats, potentially even if you go for a pace and shooting combo, you're going to have a really, really good striker early on. It's someone that I'm probably going to look at using, maybe even as just a substitute. You know, someone that's physical but with a bit of pace, but also got decent shooting, a 5-star weak foot. Someone that you can take the game to your opponent's tired defenders. Yeah, someone like Richarlison I think is going to be a great option. Right, so that is it for today's video. If you like the content, like I said in the first video, please do give it a share, give it a subscribe. If you like the video, then give it a like. It's a very new channel. I'm trying to start uploading more and more things for FIFA 21 as we approach it. There is going to be a stream on October the 1st when the early access is released, where we're going to be opening a lot of packs and kicking off the Ultimate Team series that I'm going to be doing. I'm just doing this as my hobby, to be honest. You know, I love FIFA. I'm doing the streaming and the YouTube stuff just because why not stream what you like and why not get more involved with the community? So yeah, if you guys like what I've done here, then yeah, give it a subscribe and I'll catch you soon. See ya.